Welcome to the channel where we dive deep into the incredible and fascinating stories behind the coins that you might have in your pocket right now, coins that seem ordinary but could actually be worth a life-changing fortune. And today we're talking about one of the most talked about, mysterious, and highly sought-after coins in the world of American numismatics, the 1969 $quarter coin, a coin that has stunned collectors and historians alike due to its supposed value reaching up to an astonishing $78 million, all because of its unique errors, minting mistakes, and the series of unbelievable circumstances surrounding its production that turned an everyday 25-cent piece into a priceless treasure. Imagine flipping through your old change jar, spotting a coin from 1969, and discovering that it might be worth more than some of the most expensive mansions in America, more than luxury cars or even entire private islands. This is exactly the kind of dream that keeps coin collectors searching, hoping that one of these rare and error-filled quarters might find its way into their hands. The 1969 quarter, on the surface, appears like any other Washington quarter, bearing the familiar portrait of George Washington on the obverse side and the heraldic eagle on the reverse, but underneath that ordinary appearance lies a web of rare mistakes, production mysteries, and hidden variations that have made certain examples nearly priceless in the collector's market. The story of how this coin became so valuable begins in an era when the United States Mint was transitioning through some of the most complex and experimental years in its history, dealing with changes in metal composition, striking techniques, and mint mark placements, all of which opened the door for errors that would eventually turn ordinary coins into numismatic legends. In 1969, the Mint produced millions of quarters in different locations, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and during that time, errors could occur due to mechanical mishaps, die deterioration, misalignment, or even human error, each one potentially creating a unique variation that could later be classified as a valuable mint error. One of the most famous and discussed possibilities for the 1969 quarter's incredible value is the existence of a double-die obverse variety, where the design elements such as the inscriptions "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and even Washington's facial features appear slightly doubled, giving the coin a distinct and easily noticeable visual distortion. Double die errors occur when the die used to strike the coin has been improperly impressed more than once with the design hub, resulting in a misaligned duplication of the details, and while this might sound like a small technical glitch, in the numismatic world, it's these tiny deviations that can separate a normal coin from a multi-million-dollar treasure. Experts believe that only a few of these 1969 double-die quarters ever left the mint, making them nearly impossible to find today, and their rarity combined with historical significance and eye-catching imperfection contributes to the jaw-dropping valuation of $78 million for pristine or unique specimens verified by professional graders. Another contributing factor to the 1969 quarter's immense value is the ongoing mystery about a few pieces rumored to have been struck on the wrong planchet, meaning that instead of being produced on a copper-nickel quarter blank, they were accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination, such as a dime, cent, or even foreign coin metal composition, creating a drastically lighter or heavier coin that collectors immediately recognize as an error rarity. Some of these off-metal errors show unique color variations, unusual thickness, or unexpected magnetic responses that make them stand out instantly when tested. Imagine discovering a 1969 quarter that's slightly smaller in diameter, weighs differently, or has an unusual tone to its surface. That's the type of find that could change a collector's life forever. Another intriguing aspect of the 1969 quarter's story involves the re-engraved dies or overstruck coins, cases where a previously minted coin was accidentally struck again with a new design, resulting in overlapping images, partial eagles, or ghosted letters that make the coin look almost surreal, like a shadow of two eras combined on one piece of metal. Such occurrences are extremely rare because the minting process is highly controlled, yet during the 1960s, occasional mishaps still slipped through, especially during high production runs or when equipment maintenance lagged. Some 1969 quarters even display what experts call misaligned die strikes, where one side of the coin appears off-center, leaving a crescent of blank space on the edge while the other side appears fuller or thicker. These visual anomalies, while subtle, drastically raise a coin's value because they indicate a genuine minting mishap, something that collectors treasure for its authenticity and unrepeatable nature. The $78 million valuation doesn't come from one single type of error but rather the combination of factors: rarity, historical importance, striking anomaly, condition, and collector demand, all converging to make certain examples of the 1969 quarter absolutely priceless. Imagine one particular specimen showing not just a double die error but also a planchet anomaly or misalignment, making it a once-in-a-lifetime find. That's where prices skyrocket into the tens of millions. Coin collectors and historians often say that coins like this are pieces of history trapped in metal, each mark or deviation telling the story of human error, industrial process, and the evolution of American currency. But what makes the 1969 quarter even more fascinating is that it represents a period of massive change in U.S. minting. The move away from silver that had occurred a few years earlier still left its impact on how coins were made, with leftover silver planchets occasionally being used by mistake, leading to some 1969 quarters possibly being struck on 90% silver planchets from earlier mint runs. Such coins, if authenticated, would be some of the rarest transitional errors in U.S. history, explaining part of their astronomical estimated value. Collectors have long speculated that a handful of these silver-based 1969 quarters escaped into circulation unnoticed, and every once in a while, a new story emerges of someone finding an odd-feeling quarter that turns out to be an ultra-rare minting error worth a fortune. On top of that, condition plays a massive role. Coins graded as MS-67 or higher, meaning mint state with little to no visible wear, can fetch unimaginable sums in private auctions, especially if they also carry error traits that make them one of a kind. The story doesn't stop at physical errors either. Even the historical context around the year 1969 adds to the mystique of these coins. America was going through turbulent yet iconic times: the moon landing, cultural revolutions, shifts in manufacturing technologies, and in that environment, coins minted that year carry an emotional connection to an era of change, innovation, and national pride. For collectors, owning a 1969 quarter in such condition and rarity isn't just about owning metal, it's about owning a piece of American history, something tangible from a transformative year. Some numismatists also suggest that a few 1969 quarters might exhibit die clashes, where the dies accidentally strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly outlines of the opposite design on the coin's surface. This kind of error gives the coin a haunting appearance, like a faint eagle shadow appearing on the obverse or parts of Washington's head visible on the reverse. When combined with doubling, misalignment, or off-metal striking, these features push the coin into legendary status. The mystery deepens with the existence of coins believed to have been struck with partial collars, leading to uneven rims or slightly expanded edges, tiny details that trained eyes can spot instantly but casual observers often overlook. These quirks, when authenticated, transform a 25-cent coin into a millionaire's collectible. Auction houses and private collectors who specialize in U.S.-era coins have seen the market explode in recent decades, as rare finds attract media attention and wealthy investors eager to own something no one else can. One verified 1969 quarter with multiple minting errors, pristine surfaces, and full strike quality could easily attract a bidding war, with collectors from around the world competing for ownership, pushing its theoretical value well into the $78 million range. Beyond the errors themselves, provenance adds another layer of value. If a coin can be traced back through well-documented ownership history or was part of a famous collection, its desirability increases exponentially. For instance, a 1969 quarter once owned by a well-known numismatist, museum, or collector featured in a major publication could easily become priceless because of the documented legacy attached to it. Collectors love stories, and coins like this come with legends that travel through generations. Some even claim that there are undiscovered varieties of the 1969 quarter that haven't yet been catalogued, meaning there could be unknown combinations of doubling, die wear, or off-metal compositions waiting to be found. Imagine the excitement of being the one to uncover a new error variety never before recorded, a coin that changes numismatic history overnight. The 1969 quarter represents more than just metal and numbers. It represents the human fascination with imperfection, rarity, and discovery. Next. Today we're diving into one of the most astonishing stories in the world of rare coins, a story that's been causing excitement, disbelief, and curiosity among collectors and treasure hunters across the globe, the incredible tale of the 1985 quarter dollar coin that's rumored to be worth a staggering $65 million because of its extraordinary errors, rare minting mistakes, and the sheer improbability of its survival. Now, you might be thinking, how can a simple 25-cent piece minted in the mid-1980s be worth tens of millions of dollars today? Well, the answer lies in the fascinating world of coin minting anomalies, the historical context of the U.S. mint during that era, and the unique combination of features that make this particular coin not only a 1 in a billion error piece but also a cultural symbol of rarity and collector obsession. To understand why the 1985 D quarter has captured such legendary status, we need to travel back to 1985, a year when the Denver Mint was producing hundreds of millions of quarters, each stamped with the familiar bust of George Washington on the obverse and the proud eagle on the reverse, still following the classic design used since 1932. But among those countless coins, a few mysterious pieces emerged with characteristics so unusual that they defied the standard minting process. These weren't your ordinary quarters that rolled off the production line by the millions. These were coins with off-center strikes, double dies, planchet errors, missing mint marks, and even hybrid compositions that shouldn't have existed in that time period. The 1985 D quarter that sparked all this attention was reportedly found with an unprecedented combination of errors. It was struck on a planchet intended for a foreign coin, possibly one of the brass or copper-nickel blanks used for other countries' currency, creating an incorrect weight and metallic composition that immediately made it stand out to anyone familiar with coinage. Imagine holding a quarter that feels lighter or heavier than it should, or that shines in an off-colored tone not typical for U.S. coinage. That's exactly what collectors describe when they talk about the legendary $65 million 1985 D quarter. One of the most fascinating aspects of this coin is the possibility that it was struck on a planchet not meant for a U.S. quarter at all, leading experts to speculate that this could have happened during a period when the Denver Mint was producing coins for foreign governments, a practice that occasionally led to the accidental use of incorrect blanks. The coin's obverse is said to feature a strong doubling on Washington's profile, particularly noticeable around the eye, the letters in Liberty, and the date, 1985, giving the coin an almost ghostly, shadowed appearance that can only occur when the die strikes the planchet more than once slightly misaligned. This type of double die error is extremely sought after in numismatics because it provides undeniable proof of a minting mishap, something that simply cannot be replicated or faked without close scrutiny. Moreover, this particular 1985 D specimen reportedly exhibits a die crack running across the motto, "In God We Trust," connecting with the edge of Washington's neck, creating a unique pattern that effectively acts as a fingerprint. No two coins can have identical die crack patterns, which makes this feature an authentication point for experts who have studied the coin. Another error adding to its mystique is an apparent off-center strike, estimated to be around 15% to 20%, which reveals part of the coin's blank surface where the design didn't fully strike, while still retaining the full date and mint mark, an incredible combination since most off-center strikes either lose the date or the mint mark. When you have an error coin that retains both, it becomes exponentially more valuable. Some reports even claim that under magnification, remnants of an overstruck design can be seen on the reverse, suggesting that the coin may have been struck on a previously used planchet, perhaps from a coin that was melted and reused, resulting in faint outlines of a foreign emblem beneath the eagle's wings. These overlapping imprints would make the coin a literal bridge between different currencies, something numismatists call a mule or off-metal strike, which is among the rarest categories of minting errors possible. To collectors, the 1985 D quarter isn't just a piece of metal, it's a tangible anomaly that represents the unpredictability of human and machine processes in minting. During the 1980s, minting technology was advanced but still subject to human oversight, and die maintenance was an ongoing challenge. If a die wasn't replaced in time, it could develop cracks, chips, or misalignments that affected the coins produced. Many experts believe that the $65 million specimen may have been produced near the end of a die's life, with multiple issues compounding in one single coin, giving rise to its spectacular combination of errors. Now, the question that stirs everyone's imagination is, why is it worth $65 million? How can a single coin with these errors command a price higher than rare gold or even art masterpieces? The answer lies partly in rarity and partly in collector psychology. In the world of rare coins, value is not just about metal composition but about uniqueness, historical intrigue, and demand among elite collectors. A single coin that embodies an unrepeatable combination of minting errors, excellent preservation, and authentication by top grading companies can become the holy grail for numismatists willing to pay astronomical sums to own it. Reports indicate that the 1985 D error quarter in question was graded by a top-tier service like PCGS or NGC at a near-perfect mint state, possibly MS68 or higher, meaning it's virtually flawless apart from the errors themselves, which are viewed as features, not flaws. Imagine a coin that not only carries history but looks as if it was minted yesterday, with crisp details, mirror-like luster, and sharp relief. Then add to that the fact that it's one of a kind, and you have a recipe for record-breaking value. The legend of the 1985 Quarte also owes much to the stories surrounding its discovery. Some say it was found in circulation by a sharp-eyed cashier who noticed its odd tone. Others claim it was discovered in an unsearched bank roll decades after it was minted. Still, others believe it was part of a private collection that remained hidden until a recent auction revealed its existence to the public. What's certain is that once word spread that this coin existed and that experts had verified its anomalies, the buzz within the numismatic community exploded. Collectors, dealers, and even investors began combing through their spare change, checking old jars of quarters, and searching estate sales in hopes of finding another example. But to date, no second specimen has ever been verified, solidifying its status as a unique minting miracle. The mystique around this coin deepens when you consider that the Denver Mint, in 1985, was not known for producing many dramatic errors, making this case even more extraordinary. Minting errors like double strikes, broad strikes, and off-center issues were far more common in earlier decades when quality control was less rigorous. By the mid-1980s, the Mint had improved its procedures significantly, so the survival of such a dramatic multi-error coin defies the odds. Furthermore, rumors persist that this coin may have been part of an experimental strike or test run that accidentally escaped into circulation, something that occasionally occurred when experimental alloys were being tested for durability or color. The presence of non-standard metal composition in this 1985 coin supports that theory. Some metallurgical tests reportedly revealed traces of brass or a higher copper content than the standard copper-nickel clad, giving it a unique hue and density. These deviations make it not only visually distinct but also chemically different, which adds another layer of uniqueness to its story. Coin collectors often talk about the perfect storm of factors that create ultra-valuable coins: rarity, error type, condition, demand, and provenance. The 1985 Quarte embodies all five. It's the only known example with such a set of errors. The type of error, a combination of off-metal strike, double die, and off-center, is almost unheard of together. The condition is pristine. Demand for Washington quarters from the 1980s has surged due to nostalgic collectors reaching peak buying age, and the provenance, or history of ownership, is traceable to a single discovery story that has been verified by multiple experts. All these elements combined make it not just a coin but an artifact of numismatic legend. Another fascinating aspect is how this coin's legend has impacted the market for other 1985 quarters. Ordinary examples, once overlooked as common pocket change, now fetch higher prices in uncirculated grades because collectors are paying closer attention to small variations, hoping to uncover minor errors related to the same die batch. Some minor die cracks, misaligned dies, or weak strikes from that year have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars simply because of the association with the $65 million coin. It's as if this one extraordinary quarter elevated the entire mintage of 1985 into a new realm of desirability. There's also the psychological factor, the idea that an ordinary-looking coin, something you might have spent without a second thought, could be worth a life-changing amount of money. That sense of hidden treasure fuels the modern coin hunting community and keeps stories like the 1985 Quarte alive. Last. Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins in American numismatic history, the 1987 Quarte dollar coin, a piece that has shocked collectors and experts alike with a rumored worth of up to $47 million because of its astonishing mint errors, production anomalies, and mysterious backstory that makes it one of the rarest finds ever to come out of the United States Mint. Imagine holding a simple 25-cent coin that could change your life forever, a coin that looks like every other Washington quarter at first glance but hides secrets that only a trained eye can spot, flaws so unique, so unintentional, and yet so mesmerizing that they've made this piece the stuff of legend. The 1987 Quarte dollar, minted at the Philadelphia Mint, came from a year when billions of coins rolled off the presses, but among them, a tiny fraction emerged with striking mistakes that turned them into fortune-worthy anomalies. To understand why this particular coin could be valued at $47 million, we have to step back in time to 1987, when the U.S. Mint was updating equipment and transitioning between older striking dies and newer ones, a period ripe for mechanical inconsistencies, planchet errors, and striking irregularities. The quarter's obverse, bearing the familiar image of George Washington designed by John Flanagan, might show doubling in certain examples, known in the coin world as a double die error, where Washington's profile, the motto, "In God We Trust," or the date itself appears shadowed or slightly offset, creating a ghost-like image effect that makes the coin one of a kind. Collectors pay astronomical sums for double die coins, and if the doubling occurs in a particularly strong strike or in a highly visible area, the value skyrockets. But that's only the beginning. Some 1987 P quarters have been reported with off-center strikes, where the design is not perfectly aligned on the coin blank, leading to parts of the rim missing or letters of Liberty or United States of America cut off or shifted awkwardly toward the edge. The more dramatic the off-center strike, especially if it still displays the full date, the higher the potential value, and some extreme examples can command tens of thousands or even millions from dedicated collectors. Another error that has caused the 1987 P quarter to rise into the realm of myth is the wrong planchet strike, a situation where the coin was accidentally struck on a blank meant for another denomination, such as a dime or a foreign coin. When a quarter design is struck on a smaller or lighter planchet, it can create bizarre distortions, thin edges, missing details, and a weight difference that makes it immediately suspicious to a coin expert but fascinating to collectors. Imagine a 1987 P quarter struck on a copper-nickel dime planchet, weighing significantly less than the standard 5.67 grams and with a visible copper edge inconsistent with quarters. Such a coin could fetch hundreds of thousands alone, but add rarity, historical context, and collector frenzy, and you have the perfect recipe for a multimillion-dollar phenomenon. Additionally, coins that display a broad strike error, where the coin is struck without the collar die that keeps its shape, tend to expand outward, giving them a wide, almost pancaked appearance. Broad-strike 1987 P quarters that retain sharp detail but show clear evidence of a missing collar can also command tremendous premiums because they visually demonstrate a minting failure that's obvious even to casual observers. One of the most extraordinary possibilities involves the 1987 P quarter struck with die cracks or cuds. These occur when the metal die used to strike the coins develops fractures or breaks, causing raised lines or blobs of metal on the surface of the coin. Some 1987 P quarters have shown impressive die cracks across Washington's face, through the motto, or even along the eagle's wings on the reverse, giving each coin a unique fingerprint of imperfection that drives collectors wild. Cuds, which appear as large raised areas near the rim, are especially prized when they are dramatic and well-formed, because they indicate the die was damaged beyond repair, meaning very few coins were made before it was replaced. There's also speculation that a handful of 1987 P quarters might have been struck with a reverse die intended for another year, such as 1988, creating a transitional variety that's exceedingly rare. Transitional errors often happen during periods when the mint changes its dies but accidentally uses an outdated one for a new year's production run, resulting in coins that blend two different years' characteristics. If even one verified 1987 P quarter was found with such an anomaly, it could explain its legendary $47 million valuation, since transitional errors of this magnitude are often considered priceless by serious collectors. Another subtle but fascinating possibility lies in the composition of the coin itself. Though quarters made after 1965 were typically struck on copper-nickel-clad planchets, there have been cases where old silver planchets accidentally found their way into the presses years later. A 1987 P quarter struck on a 90% silver planchet would have a distinct look and sound, a brighter, more reflective surface and a ringing tone when dropped, and such a discovery would send shockwaves through the numismatic community. A verified silver 1987 P quarter could indeed fetch millions because it would represent one of the most extraordinary mint blunders in modern U.S. history. Weight anomalies also mattered greatly, as coin experts weigh their finds to the hundredth of a gram to detect mismatches. A quarter weighing significantly more or less than 5.67 grams, yet matching all other details of an authentic 1987 P strike, could indicate the use of an experimental planchet or a misfeed during minting, both of which add to its intrigue and value. Overstrikes, where a coin is struck on top of another existing coin, also occasionally surface and are among the most visually stunning errors in the hobby. Imagine a 1987 P quarter struck over a 1987 dime or even a foreign coin that accidentally entered the hopper. Such an overstrike would produce overlapping designs, partial dates, and ghost-like images that make the coin instantly identifiable and unimaginably valuable. The presence of such spectacular errors is what fuels the mythos of the 1987 P quarter being worth $47 million, since combinations of errors, like a double die paired with a wrong planchet or an off-center strike with die cracks, can exponentially raise desirability. Condition is another critical factor. If one of these rare 1987 P quarters survived in mint state condition, with brilliant luster and little to no wear, its value could skyrocket even further. Coins graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC as MS-67 or higher, with verified major errors, can sell for hundreds of thousands or even millions, especially when they come with strong provenance or auction history. A single unique example, certified and authenticated with multiple dramatic minting mistakes, could logically explain the multi-million-dollar valuation circulating among collectors. Beyond technical errors, part of what makes this coin Southwest compelling is its place in numismatic lore, how small mistakes during ordinary production can lead to astronomical rarity. In 1987, the Philadelphia Mint produced more than 900 million quarters, meaning that even a single misplaced die or damaged press could have caused dozens or even hundreds of subtle variations. Yet the odds of one coin emerging with a perfect storm of errors, strong doubling, off-center strike, misaligned die, and perhaps a wrong planchet, are beyond astronomical. The mystique of finding such a coin in your change or tucked away in a collection makes it irresistible for treasure hunters and everyday enthusiasts alike. Some collectors have even reported strange toning on certain 1987 P quarters, iridescent hues of blue, purple, or gold that form naturally due to metal oxidation over decades. When this natural toning coincides with an error coin, it enhances aesthetic appeal and value, since collectors prize beauty and rarity combined. There are also rumors of 1987 P quarters exhibiting partial clad layer errors, where the nickel coating on one side is missing, revealing the copper core beneath. These missing clad layer coins are visually striking, with one side appearing bright silver and the other reddish-brown, and authenticated examples have fetched tens of thousands of dollars. Combine that with other mint errors, and the potential value grows exponentially. Some even speculate that prototype or test strikes, coins minted for internal testing that accidentally escaped the mint, might exist from this year, possibly struck with slightly altered dies or experimental compositions. If one of these prototypes surfaced, it could easily command a multi-million-dollar bid from a museum or elite private collector. The Philadelphia Mint in 1987 was known for experimentation, especially with die polishing and preparation methods, so coins that show extra design detail, missing initials, or unusually strong strikes might be remnants of such trials. Missing mint marks, while less likely on Philadelphia coins since they carry a P, could occur on die preparation errors, and even a small deviation like that could fuel massive collector interest. Every detail on the 1987 P quarter, whether it's a shifted rim, doubled letter, cracked die, or missing clad layer, adds to the intricate web of possibilities that turn a mere 25-cent piece into an artifact of minting history.